You disinfect toys, clean your kitchen, sanitize your groceries, and other items, all to keep your family safe in today's times. But it's such a hassle and takes so much time and effort. Introducing Wipe Right disposable disinfecting gloves, the easier, faster way to fight viruses, germs, and bacteria in your home. For cleaning and disinfecting, spray your favorite solution on each glove and wipe with both hands, cutting your cleaning time in half. Then just rinse with water and squeeze your hands together, and voila, on to the next job. Use both hands to clean faster. Wipe Right disinfecting gloves.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show. And now the host, Calvin Logan.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Logan Power Show. It's me, your host, Calvin Logan, and I want you to stop what you're doing. Just tune in what we're doing here at the Logan Power Show. We won't be with you long. We're just here to give you some information, bring you on a guest who's going to give some information that's going to not only help you, but empower you, because that's what we're here at the Logan Power Show to do, is to empower others. It's also to give information that's going to make you want to think more clearly and understand that the time of change is now. So I got with me a first-time guest at the Logan Power Show. Just to let you know a couple things about him. He's very insightful. He has a passion for change, and he's going to help those that need the change. And we talk about our fathers. He is the founder of Our Fatherless Foundation, the one and only Mr. Joe Roberson. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good, Calvin. How you doing, man?
Great. Glad to have you here in the Logan Power Show.
Hey, glad to be here.
Yes, sir. We know that your time is valuable. We want to know, how did you come about with Our Fatherless Foundation and how that came about to birth?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was actually a God thing. But before I get to the actual method or the reason or how everything came about, I grew up without a father, so I understood exactly how life could have been, because I saw others with fathers around them, how life could have been different if I did have a father in my life, but I didn't. So growing up without a dad, I knew I dealt with a lot of issues. I dealt with the bullying. I dealt with the the self-value, self-worth, didn't really know it. I dealt with confidence issues and things of that nature. So I too was a part of the statistic, of growing up fatherless. So the reason or the way that Our Fatherless Foundation came about was, honestly, it was a divine thing. I was on the road traveling and for work. I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was sleeping. Just sleeping in the hotel, and I woke up maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning. I had this burden in my chest. I literally had a burning sensation, and I woke up and I knew it was divine, because I hear this word fatherless just bouncing back and forth in my head. I'm like, okay, Lord, I know this you. I know this is you. So what fatherless? What do you want me to do with that? But it just kept continuing, just kept bouncing. So me being an IT guy, that's my background. I actually just opened up my laptop and I began searching the term fatherless. And so I knew that the Lord obviously wanted me to do something with this. So what I did was I went to GoDaddy and I reserved the name Our Fatherless, because again, it's a two-folded meaning. One, our father, our earthly fathers. We are void of that, the father void, but also our heavenly father. Society doesn't really celebrate God, especially Jesus Christ. So I knew that, okay, this two-tone, the two-headed reasoning of pretty much the catalyst for the foundation and really addressing the fatherless epidemic.
Absolutely. I think that we want to understand the importance of having a father in your life. I
Yeah.
think everyone's not always given the opportunity, but there's also situations where there's a father present, but it's still a relationship
Mm,
that you have to be able
right.
to have. It's like a two-way dialogue. And
Right.
what I definitely want people to know, just some data.
Mm,
World.com, some things that people may follow in regards to our census.gov. They say in the United States, this is just, data we want to be on the same page. Right now, we're
yeah.
roughly about 7.8 billion people in this world. And so we said, let's give that into historical data. In the United States, they say every 9 seconds, a person is born, and every 13 seconds, a person dies. And they say that right now, as it goes, stated out of like 100 females, you got the males. But they say, like, the males are being born, but as time evolves, it's they're dying, and it's sort of evening it out. Because if every male was considered, he was making it past a certain age, their longevity would be here. So you see a lot of people that are actually making some of these mistakes. Also, people
Yeah.
that are making these situations. So I totally understand where you're coming from. So the fatherless, Our Fatherless Foundation,
Hmm.
you have sort of a strenuous sort of curriculum that a father would have to say, hey, you want serious individuals. Can you give us like a little bit of details? Because I definitely want people will see on the screen how do you know how to get in contact with you via
Sure.
email and the website. But if you say a person, what is your sole responsibility? You feel that your foundation will help these fathers that they need to be put that are currently
Yeah.
in existence.
Yeah. So our goal at Our Fatherless Foundation is to fill father voids. And the way we do that is by initiating, well, we call the 4 pillars, and it's called the CARE Initiative. C is for connected families. That's fathers and father figures with children. And A is for accountability. So that's kind of what you're hitting on accountability. If a guy says, "Hey, I desire to want either be a better father, or two, I need to somehow connect with my kids. They're no longer in the house, or I don't have custody of my kids. I want custody. What can I do?" So what we'll do, we'll help. We provide some legal services for them. So again, we have to make sure that they are serious about it, because this is time and money. And we make sure that they are held accountable even after they're able to establish some sort of parental um, connection, from a legality perspective. We make sure that, hey, they're coming through our program. We're checking on them. Hey, every 2 weeks, say, hey, how you doing? How's things going? Do you need any assistance and any help, any prayer? What can we do to support you in that initiative to ensure that you are, a better father? So that's something that, again, that we also offer. Back to the care initiative, R for resources. Again, we talk about allowing them to really just come to us and say, hey, we need help. Do you have any resources? I don't know where to start. Again, we got the legal services. A lot of fathers who the kids were born out of wedlock. So that means that they don't have legal rights to their kids. Well, a lot of people don't know that. They think, oh, okay, well, I signed a birth certificate. That should be enough. No, it's not. Especially if that you guys were not married. So it's up to the father to ensure that he goes through the proper channels in order to ensure that that child, he has legal rights to that child. And E, so education. We provide training, workshops, mentorship for these dads. Really just an ongoing support system to ensure that, again, they have what they need to properly raise these kids, because being a father is hard. It's really difficult. And so we just try to make sure that we're there. We're providing the resources and support that's truly needed to ensure that this guy is able to be the father that he always wanted to be.
And that's definitely commendable by you, and I want people to understand the pivotal aspects, not just the financial. Signing the birth certificate is one aspect, but if you
Yeah.
want to be a father, it's going to take some legal work. For those that are not married,
Yeah.
well, number one, just stories that I've heard. This is now, I'm not the expert. The stories that I've heard. Okay, we want to make sure that I'm clear that I am not an expert in this damn stories that I've heard. Is that you have a child out of wedlock? Everything is cool at first until we get this thing called child support, and the ramifications from it. We know right now they say statistically, I'm talking about South Carolina, 50% paid. Another 27% say, hey, I ain't paying Jack Daniels. And the other percent just can't get on board to financially support. And what we want to understand is that legally, being in part of your child's life is pivotal. Don't just dish out something and you're not getting a return. I think a child is an investment. It's like an investment, like a house. It's an investment, like some stocks and bonds. You got to get a
Right.
return on your investment. If this is your seed, this is your child that you put. It started with you first.
Right.
She had the baby.
Right.
Came out of you. If
Yeah.
if it's if we look at it as like an investment, the house, soil on the ground. This is my area, and we say this. I need a return on my investments. Not being harsh, is just saying like, listen, I
Nah.
didn't I didn't have you come into this
Right.
world to say, okay, my investment that I just been pouring in is just thrown to the wayside. And I want people to understand, like, in the state of South
Right.
Carolina, some more historical data, child support on average runs about $792 by $800 a
Mm.
month, a month. So you think about
Right.
$9,600 a year is typical child support. It's talking about $10,000. So let's think into a big picture of what you're thinking about. You're saying to yourself, if you're making 40 grand, you're saying about, you're pretty much cutting a good percentage of your income. 20 to 22% is going towards
Mhm.
your child. Nothing knocking. I'm just saying, when taxes, Uncle
Right.
Sam gets his, so on and so forth, there's no return on child support. You can't file no taxes, things like that. There's a whole lot of legal ramifications that is
Right.
way past my pay grade. But I'm just letting people know there's things that we just don't see, and we get things done. So,
Yeah. So just to
right,
piggyback on that,
sure.
because a lot of people, it's more than just the financial aspect. Because you have guys out there who are paying their child support and they think, okay, well, I'm paying my child support. I've done my part. Actually, no. Paying child support is the minimum. Your kids still need you, right? So you talk about investment. So when I think about investment, I think about legacy building. See, whether you know it or not, this child that you bore, at some point, they're going to have grandkids. I mean, they're going to have kids, so they're going to be your grandkids. So how would you like for that child, your child, to raise your grandkids? Right. And a lot of times these grandkids look just like the grandparents. So you got a grandchild walking around here with your face on, right? You don't know who they are because you not only did you not really truly establish a relationship with your kid, an ongoing relationship. So if you don't know your kid, of course you're not going to know your grandson or granddaughter. So again, it's all about building legacies. Again, child support bare minimum. We're talking about, even at our Fatherless Foundation, we're huge on ensuring that the parents are present and active, because again, if you're not there, all right, if you're not there, and you can be in the home, as you mentioned earlier, we have fathers that are present but without a presence, so they're just there, right? They're just like the lazy boy. It's just they work, they come home from work, and that's it. They pay the bills, and that's it. No, you have to be what is termed a term coined emotional intelligent. Right? You have to know what's going on with your child, right? How's their day, right? What is they're going through? You need to have a connection with them. What does your child feel about you? What do they think about you? How can you be a better father? And things of that nature. So again, it's just about connecting. It's about leaving that legacy. The best way to leave a legacy is to know your child and to really invest in all aspects of their life, including financially.
Absolutely. And I think when people I want you to understand the ramifications of how important it is. Let's say, for instance, your child becomes the president of the United States, the one who, keep in mind, let's just go through historical data. We had an African American president, President Obama. His father was not president. His mother, God forbid her soul, was not able to see the glory of it. But he gave his mama a legacy. He told his mother, his grandparents. You talk about what he mentioned. Understand that imagine the historical data that the person who let's just put it in big words. You had an African American president, and you say the African American the parent, the father looks like me and you. I think that is the part that what we have to do is we got to see that is historically great, and that we have to understand how different that would be. Like you go to the White House, you see the person who looks like the grandparents walking behind. The grandfather walks in. He said, "Yeah, I'm the grandfather of the president of the United States." So now the whole thing about my grandkids get to see something totally different that the United States does not really embrace. It's like you always say to yourself in society, "Where's the father?" And you say, "Okay, where is the grandparents?" Not the grandparents who looks very young, a true grandparent. I'm not knocking any grandparents out here. If you're a young grandparent, God bless you. But it's saying to themselves, when you look at a family, you say, "Okay, I see the child, I see the mother." Biggest thing you say, "Okay, where's the father at?" And then you say, "Okay, the father's not here." And okay, now you say, "Okay, where the grandparents at?" I see the grandmother. Where's the grandfather at? But you see when it's a shift. I don't know whether any teachers may have seen this or people may have seen this, but when you see a child, and nothing against, listen, a woman is a life giver. It is a blessing when a child sees their mother coming in, but there's a different light when a father steps on board and you tell and the teacher says, "Okay, I see your mother." And then you say, "Well, who's that man?" "Well, that's my father right there." And he walks in and he be like, "Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry I was late. I was working, but I had to make sure I was here for this." And the grandmother comes, and then you say, "Okay, well, wait a second. I'm the grandfather. I'm sorry we was running behind, but we had to see our grandchild get this done." You see it all the time in graduations where, the kid is hysterical. Like, they're in tears because of it's the presence. It's like, the father will say, "I'm good." Like you see a lot of people who are very successful. The mothers, they're getting their flowers all day long. You see it constantly. But to say a father say, "I'm getting my flowers right there too," despite how it's going, but I'm gonna get my flowers too. That's a whole nother ball of wax. What are some of the problems that just from, because I definitely want to make sure that you get all the information out that you guys face, because you mentioned the legal aspect, and you hear a lot of fathers say, this for what I hear is that, "Man, I'm paying child support, I'm doing what I got to do, but I'm not getting the time or quality time to spend with my child. Like I'm a financial bank, but I don't have the time that you would get to bond to say, okay, I got mine."
Yeah. See, here's the thing. A lot of guys, what I've come across is they have almost like this defeatist mentality, and they almost buy into the fact that, hey, this is her child and not mine. Hey, both of you guys made this child. That is 50% your child. So if you're paying child support, I'm hoping that you have a parenting plan. And I know about this because why? I went through the process myself. I was a single dad of 3 daughters. So I know, especially here in Georgia, what that process entails. But when I actually went to the court, because my kids were born, out of wedlock, And so I didn't have legal rights to my kids until I went to court. So when I did go to court, I filled out the documents for legitimation, but also that parenting plan. So in that parenting plan, it stated, okay, when do I have access to my kids? I'm agreeing every other weekend. I'm agreeing on, you know, Easter Sunday, summers, Thanksgiving Day. All right. This year and next year we're gonna alternate. We're gonna flip. But I have in that parenting plan rights. It tells you when I'm supposed to have my child. So for those guys, and I'm sure that's like this in most states, if you are paying child support, especially that means you have to go through a process. But if you went through a different process, say for instance, if the mother just went and filed for child support, and now only thing you know is like, I just got to pay child support. No, you still have access to that child. Go to court, go to court, go to family court, file that, legitimation if that's what's needed, or that parenting plan. You have access, you have rights to your kids. So don't just lay down. You have a voice too. Your kids need you.
Absolutely. Now, from your experience, what is it like? I know a lot of times you hear when it comes to our fathers being present,
Right.
does it make a difference? Because you see a lot of times, I'm saying with movies, some of these shows, you'll see it like, well, the mother's superhero. I have nothing against a mom being a
Right.
superhero,
Right.
but somebody was present in the superhero process.
Yeah.
I get it that you did 1,001 things. It takes a village. I don't care what anybody says, but it does. But from your personal experience, the fathers who have come to you and saying this is what I'm going through, are there
Right.
some things that we need to encourage them to say, to come forward to you for services?
Yeah. First to say, hey, I want my child. I'm serious about having not only a relationship with my child, but I'm concerned about their well-being without me, right? Because knowing that there's so many, social inequities that are tied to fatherlessness, right? And just to throw out some stats, and I can't throw these out. These are these are researchable. So, for instance, without a father, kids are 4 times greater. They have a greater risk of poverty. All right, they're more likely to have behavior problems. They're 2 times greater, have a greater risk of infant mortality. They're more likely to go to prison, to commit crimes. Hey, that I can keep going. 7 times more likely to become teen parents. The list goes on and on. So that in itself, for me, if I'd have read these stats and I don't have my kid, right, on a daily, I don't have a relationship with my kid, that right there would scare me. That alone would scare me because, again, I'm thinking about the well-being of my child, right? Also, according to the U.S. Census Bureau in 2021, 18.4 million children were born without a they were raised without a biological step or adoptive father in the home, right? That is astonishing. That's just last year. And 43% of those households are Black households. So again, these are all stats out there, the U.S. Census Bureau. But again, just unfathomable numbers. So what do we do about that? What can we do? There's a lot that can be done for those fathers who want to have that relationship. It starts with really just looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, hey, am I ready for this, right? There's a reason that I don't have my child in the first place. Have I learned from that? Is there something that I've done? Because a lot of this stuff is introspective, right? Am I in a position to really care for my child? Or is it best that I just pay child support and work on myself, in the interim, right? Do I need to join a fatherhood program in my local area? Do I need to reach out to, maybe the church, men's ministry or something to help prepare me for being a full-time dad or even a part-time dad? All of that, it takes intentionality, really, because again, being a father is not for the faint of heart. I know women do this all the time. So many single moms, and I think honestly, just being a mom is one of the hardest jobs on this planet. especially a single mom. And I have nothing but love. My mom was a single mom. She did everything she could, so I have nothing but the utmost respect, So, but again, just being a parent is difficult. And like I said, I was a single dad of three daughters, and it was extremely challenging. But again, I was able to make it through it, with the help of the good Lord. I couldn't have done it alone, man. I had teenage girls. Think about that.
Speaking the
Hormonal
truth
teenage
now.
girls, man. I'm telling you. And so now I'm watching everyone. I'm watching what they're doing. And it's just me. So these teenagers, they get kind of crafty, So I had to learn the lingo. I had to keep up to date on everything, and it's just me. Not to mention, I had a demanding full-time job, that really required more of me than I was willing to give. But again, I was stretched thin. But one thing I knew is that I can't drop the ball on being a parent, and that was really important to me. Again, just going back to your question, accountability. It's all about accountability. If you want your children, you got to know that it's easy to say I want my child, but what happens, just like with me, I'm sitting across, after I got custody of my daughters, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm looking at all three of them. And I'm like, man, I know I was talking about this for a while, but man, this is reality. This is reality. I'm looking at them, they're looking at me. I'm like, oh man, what did I do? What have I gotten myself into? But again, I embraced that role. And I made sure that, again, I did the very best I could. And I have great daughters. I love being a dad. So, yeah.
Well, hats off to you. I think a lot of times where people don't understand the importance of where it comes into place. A father's needed. Like when you
Yeah.
think the opposite, this is just saying things from a big perspective. We're not talking about spiritually. Listen, I teach my children, and I tell my children that believe in Jesus Christ. I think the Father is God. That's your number one father, and then I'm just giving responsibility for you. Well, you think about when a child comes into the world, and you say, okay, you have a daughter, her first or second love outside of the one parent, either or. Say the mother is the first, her father should be the second love. She should know how to embrace
Right.
her father. Say, well, I can give a hug and not be ashamed or afraid to embrace, because she can say, well, if you won't give me the hug, I know my father will. I know he'll grab me and give me a hug and bring it close, and he'll let me
Right.
know that it's something that we got to have an understanding. A son will see the same thing. If his first love of his mother, his second love of his father, either or,
Right.
listen, at the end of the day, I'm not picking one and two, however it is. You know how it goes with your children, who they embrace
Yeah.
first, but I would tell any father, embrace that hug, embrace that fellowship, embrace experiencing that, because when you do that, it eliminates the foolishness when people come and say, well, hey, when a young man comes to your daughter and say, well, girl, come here or give me a hug, she's like, you fool, like, listen,
Right.
you're not my father. My father, that's who I embrace. Listen,
Yeah.
are you treating me how I want to be treated? If you're
Right.
are you giving me the flowers, the full shebang? Are you laying out the red carpet? That's how
Right.
you treat me. Or some will say, okay, well, young lady, this is how my father taught me to talk
Yeah.
to you. So now the conversation saying, like, listen, I get it. That's what you're looking for. But my father said, this is how I treat a young lady.
Right.
This is how I come to you. This is how I walk up
Right.
to you. So if you respect that, cool. But if you're not, listen, at the end of the day, you have a good day, because I don't think you're the right one for me. And for those that are
Yeah.
listening
I
right
love
now,
it.
I want you to understand this is no disrespect to anybody here, but we know that the fathers are needed. If 18 million, 18.1, that's literally saying about 5 to 7% of the United States has a fatherless, no person there. Now, it sounds small to some people, but let that sink in over time. That's just in
Yeah.
2021. We're not compiling years. So you say over time, like, yeah, in 10 years, that could be 180 million people. Well,
Yeah.
there's only 331 people, 333 million people in the United
In U.S.
States. So if
Yeah.
you think about over time, like, okay, that keeps going. And that cycle keeps
Right.
revolving over and over again.
Right.
In 10 years, you saying, okay, I got 180 million people, they can become adults. So
Yeah.
that's an
Yeah.
impact. And if those are the ones that we have to deal with, and you talk about incarcerations, and you say, oh yeah, it's okay. And you say to yourself, all right, listen, I
Yeah.
get it. But I believe, and it hurts me when people say, oh, that person got daddy issues or that guy father. Man, listen,
Yeah.
it's nothing. Listen, everybody has a breaking point. Every child deserves to have the best quality parenting than anybody. It's not saying because I was born here, this the best. No, you should have the same quality parenting as somebody else. It's
Yeah.
just it shouldn't be based off your zip code. It shouldn't be based off your country. It should be just based off of right and wrong. Final thought.
Yeah.
We know that your mission is not a small mission. And
Right.
we know
Not at all.
and we know that people will come at you left and right because you do have those who really does not feel the need for you guys to step in and help because it is a financial, I would say a financial system that benefits people who are behind. Just give an example, let you
Right.
people know if child support that was implemented in the 70s, if child support was, say, determined by fathers and mothers put in the work. If you don't put in the work, then you just go through a particular strenuous program that I'm the one who decides how this is going to go. If it was decided to say, hey, let's see what goes on here. What happens with this money? Is this money being done the right way? Okay, you got this. Okay, is that money being used properly? Because you see all these, and I don't want anyone out here getting misconstrued what I'm saying. Because I think a lot of times what we do is too, we see things on television. We see, oh, this person's getting $30,000 a month child support, and those
Right.
numbers are very, very rare. Don't let no one fool you. If that was the case, every child in the United States would be living great based off those type of numbers we're getting it.
Right.
But I'm just giving where the data is based off the mission that you have. What will it take for you guys to be successful in these next 5 to 10 years to get you through the hump?
Yeah. So what we're trying to do right now, we're in a process of really building our programs. Our main initiative is to fill father voids with either the biological father or a father figure. So what we're trying to do is, again, through our 4 pillars, we have 4 programs. One of those programs is called our Care Connect mentoring program. And so what that program does is, again, it's similar to a Big Brothers and Big Sisters program. What we found is that especially kids age 8 to 18, again, those who don't have fathers, they're looking, they need that voice, that male voice, someone they can trust, someone who could really just bridge that gap, tell them, hey, you're doing a good job. They're encouraging them. Or, what I noticed, especially growing up, in a female-led household, again, listen, a woman can't teach a man how to be a man. So that's why, again, these strong male leaders, they can really just help, if nothing else, listen to you and guide you and encourage you and support you in a way that, really a strong mentor should. We have another program. It's called the Present Father Legacy Program. And as I mentioned earlier, that's the program that basically offers legal support for guys who, say, for instance, they're coming out of prison. Just so you know, real quick, 90% of the guys in prison, 90% of the men in prison, they grew up in fatherless homes. Just swallow that for a second. That is amazing. These stats are from the Department of Corrections. National Department of Corrections. So that can, you can also, look that up and just verify, but 90%, that's huge. But some of those guys, they do have kids themselves, so they're coming out. So they want to know, hey, how can I, I missed all this time with my kids. What can I do to, really just, get plugged in, what can I do? So we offer them that legal assistance thing, helping them get their child, legitimized, and also just helping them with resources that they may need to move on, maybe get a job, or maybe their GED, whatever resources they need to actually just be stable again, and also we have an Iron Sharpen Iron program. That's a fatherhood program, right? It's almost like a small group, somewhere that men can come together and just really just talk about what they have going on as fathers. Men, we really don't talk a whole lot. If you're at home, wife, kids, you're there, wife is, talking, she has things going on, kids got things going on, everything's, fathers just pretty much just listen and say, okay, well, how can I support what I'm gonna do? So when you get a bunch of men together, oh man, you just see it's like a verbal vomit. They just talk, because men have things to say as well. So it's just, again, we have mentors for the men, right? Just, to come together and have, Bible study, weekly accountability, retreats and things of that nature. But we also have a community service program. It's called the Serve Off Community Service Program. That way we actually go out, volunteers, do, community related events, really just giving back. We have back to school drives and a code and book drive and things of that nature. So that's what we're trying to do in the next 5 to 10 years, man. We're trying to touch as many families as possible. Again, our motto is ending fatherlessness, one family at a time. We know it's a huge initiative, but again, we're not trying to save the world, man. If we can save one person, one kid, 2 families, 3 families, man, listen, we're talking about generational curses being broken, right? Because now your kid had an opportunity, although their dad wasn't there for whatever the reason is. It could have been divorce, abandonment, death, imprisonment, whatever. Your child doesn't have to bear the brunt of all of that, right? And so we're here to try to help, bridge that gap, man, as much as possible.
Absolutely, and we want to bridge the gap with you all. And I want to absolutely encourage you through this fight. I want to encourage all fathers out here to embrace the challenge and know that you will come out successful. All the mothers out here, shout out to what you're doing. We need you. All the fathers out here, hey, we need you. Next man up.
Yeah.
The village, we're calling for you. Without you, these children will fall. A father and a mother's is one step of the way, but the village is needed. All you grandparents, the clarion call has been given. Every aunt, every uncle, every cousin, every friend, every teacher, every coach. You are needed. The village is calling to raise our children. Fathers can't do it by themselves. Mothers cannot do it by themselves. Every brother and sister, let's step up. Let's make a difference. Family, every pastor, every spiritual, the fivefold ministry. Your time is now to help this generation become a better tomorrow. And I don't want you all who are listening to me now, don't quit. We walk by faith, not by sight. Here's all the time I got. My name is Calvin Logan, the Logan Power Show. Nationwide, worldwide, we love you. We'll see you soon.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.